Everyone, welcome to the Omega Files. I'm your host, Dr. Freedom. Tonight we've gathered to have a little talk about a little event that happened out of the blue a couple days ago, and that was trailer number 2 for Doctor Who Series 11. Now, according to rumor, and like I said, I don't know if this is true or not, I've heard that the reason why they dropped it suddenly and unexpectedly was, from what I'm hearing, that apparently somewhere in New Zealand that the trailer had been either leaked or aired prematurely, and that's why they went ahead and threw it out on the 20th. Which is unusual because we'd expect this kind of thing on a weekend. So that kind of explains it if that's true. All right, but let's get your guys' views on it because just before we came on, I showed everyone the Australian, the ABC version of the trailer, which has a totally different soundtrack score to it than the one that was received online, pretty much everywhere else. So we're going to talk about that briefly as well. So, all right, let's start at the top. When I go ahead and call your name, go ahead and give me your views on the new trailer. Let's start with Philip Archer.
I like it. It's very punchy, very fast-paced looking. It's vibrant color-wise, and the the overall look of it, it looks very grand, and you can tell they put money into it. I like that she's very energetic as well in certain scenes. So you can tell that she's not a girl that's not going to back away from any conflict. So that's good. In regard to her companions, for what we see, they seem okay. It's a bit Scooby-Doo-ish gang-like for me, but that probably will be overlooked anyway as it goes along. But yeah, I do like it, and I'm looking forward to seeing what we got.
Hey now, everybody. Like Phil said, the visual effects is outstanding. I got to give him props for that, and money well spent. And as you could tell by watching it, there's more than one episode scenes being shown in this little trailer. So again, got to give them props for that. Are they showing any plot? No, they're not. You're just showing the characters, the companions, and certain scenes that was taking place. So that looks pretty good. As you said in the beginning, Freedom, that you showed us one from Australia that had a different sound. That sounded much better than the one that was played for BBC America. I gotta give Australia props for that. And I just hope that they do not use that music or that kind of sound effects during the TV episode watch. So I hope that doesn't stand out because leave it alone. But there's a question I'm gonna ask Philip and maybe Connor like that about the show. So maybe they might know the answer to it later. So as of now, I just say I look forward to the series returning in 2 weeks. So I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's looking good. Jodie's looking very fine. I didn't quite like some of the arm movements with some of the minor details. The male assistant looks big, and he looks like he's on the case, and the guy Graham is he's well known to us, and he looks alright. The new female assistant, well, she reminds me of sort of like a Asian Time Daily. She looks very bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. She looked very well. That's what all I have to say.
Okay, so I just have to make some notes this time because what else can you do? It is visually, it is an absolutely great trailer. The nice, very cinematic. You can tell, if I remember correctly, they've got the guys who did Dunkirk, Wonder Woman, and the most recent Blade Runner to do the special effects. And it really shows. You can see it. As far as the meat and bones of it, not really much, which is what we've come to expect at the moment. Chibnall has been very secretive about the plot and everything. He wants everything to be a surprise. And even in this trailer, everything's a little bit of you're getting the tone, but not really any of the substance of what's going to be there. Although, admittedly, one thing that I noticed that I was curious about throughout this whole series, I was curious, given that we hadn't really seen much in terms of aliens before, I was noticing, aliens! At last, we are going to have aliens this series. Great, still science fiction. Good. What else did I notice? Certainly thought that Jodie herself definitely felt a lot like the Doctor in this one. That you can just look at this and her lines, the way she's delivering it. Yeah, this definitely feels like the Doctor. As well, everyone's pointing out the music. God, why did they do that? I'll tell you what it feels to me. It feels like this might sound weird, but it feels American, and I don't know how to really put that, but it just feels something like I expect more from many American trailers, especially right now. You're looking at things like Star Trek Discovery and the Orville, and they got a lot of modern music in this. But you compare it with the Australian trailer, I'm sure we'll get into. That has a soundtrack which is frankly very Doctor Who. It definitely feels Doctor Who, and something I wish they really went with. That's a few technical things I was able to catch through the trailer. At both 43 seconds and 28 seconds, you'll actually see a little device attached to Bradley Walsh's head here. I have no idea if this is going to be a feature of the whole series itself or just one episode. So I'll be mostly, and I'm saying that because you look at the both seconds and the backgrounds are totally different in context. So that's why I'm curious. But also, if you pause at 53 seconds, you'll notice that lightning tentacle sort of alien thing you see. This is definitely the first episode, and I know that because you can also notice Jodie's wearing Peter Capaldi's costume. So you're getting aliens right off the bat. You'll see that. And, well, I don't know anyone else, but did anyone get a feeling that, well, there was one scene, it was at 51 seconds, where Jodie's sort of pointing up. Did anyone else get a sort of Frodo Lord of the Rings moment when the ring comes down his finger? I mean, sorry, that's just something I was thinking about when I was doing that. But yeah, those are ultimately my thoughts on the whole trailer.
Yeah, how we doing, guys? The rest of the guys have alluded to. Visually, looks great. You can't really complain. Bright, vibrant, fast-paced. Jodie, aye, she's going to have her critics, but in the snippets we've seen thus far, as well as the 53-second leaked clip, she's a Doctor. This thing's going to sink or swim based on, I believe, not necessarily her ability to play the part, but the writing and the way she's received in the characters when they put her. So it's going to sink or swim by the writing, basically, but it's looking decent. It really is. And the less said about that god-awful soundtrack, the better. I've voted for the Australian one, but I'll give them a free pass because it's mainly promotional material. But don't you dare do that again, BBC. Peace.
Sorry, iPad. I agree with the guys. The look and feel of it is very cinematic. I agree the BBC America trailer was really bad with that music. I just hate that type of music. Apparently, Australia could do things right with the whole cinematic sort of feel to the music. Graham was right, though. It's a sink or swim sort of thing. So with the acting, the writing, even the directing, it can make or break an episode. So we can't really judge by what we've seen yet until we've seen it. So, yeah, that's it from me, really.
More a substance over, style over substance trailer, I think. It's D-Neg, I think, is the best thing that they've done this year so far, apart from Cast Jodie. It looks amazing. Visually, it's about 10 times better than it was last year. And in fact, they did a similar thing. The thing that I don't want is that they did a similar thing with Series 9, where they teased a more cinematic score, and then they dialed it right back to just a normal sort of basic-looking TV show. But this time it looks like they're right, because they've got D-Neg in, who are Oscar winners for cinematography. It seems that they're promising on the whole cinematic thing. I like her a lot. She looks great. She looks expressive, dynamic, fun, colourful, vibrant. Not at all like Peter Capaldi, which is what everyone, I think, wanted. Thing is that we don't see much of her serious thing, her serious shtick. So that remains to be seen. To scenes in particular have caught my interest. The one right at the end where she's blowing the kiss, I want to know the context of that. And also the one right in the middle where the one that I think is causing the most contention is where the unknown American actor who they're trying for dear life to hide in the trailer is arguing about her authority. Now, seeing that in full context is probably going to be quite a contentious scene for some people, but that remains to be seen when the full episode airs. As I said, style over substance mainly. The monsters look great that we saw. I think we only saw like 2 or 3. I'm looking forward to the giant spider, particularly. But yeah, so far they've got the look of the series down. But it's just got to deliver on the meat of the bones with the storytelling and the writing mainly, I think.
Well, I hate to do it, but I disagree. I think it was a horrible trailer. I think that if you didn't know this was Doctor Who, you wouldn't know this was Doctor Who. I think that I think the song is what ruined it for me. I didn't like the music at all, and I think the Australian version is a much better trailer for the show. But I don't think this really reached out and said, hey, you really want to check this out. I mean, for something that's being presented as a new show in a lot of ways. I mean, I'm getting that this is promotion and they're gearing it towards a new audience. They're hoping to get a new audience because they are really sick of hearing from the old audience. But I just don't think this really said, hey, you have to check this out. This is going to be awesome. And I'm not blaming any of what we saw or any of the actors involved. I just think that it could have been a bit more, I don't know, aggressive. That's my 2 cents.
Wow, that was an unexpected reaction from Texas Tim, but I do have to agree with points that he's made, and I have to agree with points some of the other guys have made. Everything up until this point really has left me cold, and it's, you know, I've been waiting to see that wow factor, and we got this, and yeah, we can see there's been a lot of money pumped into the visuals, and it looks great and everything like that. But yeah, aside from her actually saying, I'm the Doctor, and you know, that's the only point that sort of says to you Doctor Who. The noticeable absence from this is the TARDIS. Now, whether they're holding that back for a reason or everything like that. But the other thing that you have in this is that, like, who's in charge? It's like, she is, and it's sort of, I don't want this to become the milestone, the millstone hanging round its neck that they have to constantly keep reaffirming this. You know, she's the actor cast in the role. They don't need to keep hammering this point home, otherwise it's just going to become tiresome and repeating itself over and over again. Well, you know, like Connor says and like Graham says, we're not going to know till we see it. So yeah, that was the point, and also the music, like everyone said, is jarring. You got to wait and see, I suppose. There's a lot of focus on the companions on it. You do get the idea that this is not a purely based science Doctor. This is more of a tinkerer and engineer, one who sort of mucks, jobs for the boys but for the girls type thing. I think that's the impression that they're going for. This is a builder, a fixer, an engineer, which I suppose ties with the idea of Sheffield, which is something that they seem to be hammering home very much. But it's still missing something for me, and by that I don't mean it's a willy. It just seems to be, I guess they take one step forward, but then they take a step back again. They say, yeah, I'm the Doctor. That's great. Leave it at that. Don't do the reaffirmation partway through the trailer, because you're then just undermining your lead. We're just going to have to wait and see what it is. Yeah. Is it going to bring new people to it just on the strength of that alone? I don't know. It seems to be playing catch up, and it's been left maybe too late to get that new audience that they're really chasing.
Oh, good. Thank you. Now see, this is going to be weird because, yeah, I'm a woman, so I would be like, oh yes, woman power and all that other nonsense. I could care less about all that crap. SJWs and all that other nonsense they're talking about. Feminism. Do they really know what feminism really is? I could care less about all of that. I'm here for Doctor Who. I've watched the classic Doctor Who's, and yes, all of them have been men. So what? It's their personalities that count. She has her own thing going on, as does the companions. Now, my thing is because they're going to be doing historicals, I'm interested in how they're going to do it. Because if they're going to go back in the time with Rosa Parks, that's going to be an issue. Because women were not really that up there, if you get my drift. And then one of the companions is a, I'm sorry. Well, I'll get there. Now, one of the companions is a, of African descent, so I want to see how that goes. Now, for the trailer, which one do I like? Beef, that one that you showed, that one that you showed with the music, with the more of the Doctor Who themed music, that's the one I liked more, while the second one would be the Australian one. And I understand why they did the one they did with all that hip music, because they're trying to get the younger generation in. Hey, look, that's some music I can listen to and get all, hey, this is Doctor Who. What is this sci-fi thing that looks really good? Because for some reason, Doctor Who has to have great graphics now. But the graphics are going to be nothing. The CGI, you can have the best CGI in the world. But if the story sucks, hey, what are you going to do?
I kind of agree with what Lady Neil said, because I'm more of a classic fan, and I feel like just because you make amazing graphics and all this stuff, if you don't have the stories and all that down, it doesn't matter how good the graphics are, how good it looks, or whatever. And honestly, I'm still kind of hesitant with Chibnall taking, the reins and everything as far as story is concerned, because, with his other works, it just hasn't. His other works, just, halfway through, Broadchurch, it just got kind of boring. But as far as the trailer did look good, and I kind of liked the Australian version better because it had more of a Doctor Who feel to it. But I'm doubtful about new people jumping on because there wasn't enough in the trailer, in my opinion, to entice new people to jump on. It just seemed like, ooh, look at how great this looks, and it's going to be a new era for Doctor Who, but it didn't really do anything amazing, really, so I don't know what's going to happen, and we'll just have to wait and see, I guess.
Okay, so interesting opinions and all that. I agree. I think the Australian trailer came off a bit more, a lot better because of the music that was used for that particular, that video. Well, same stuff, but different music. I agree. I think they put this new stuff on the BBC America and, the UK trailers and all that to try to bring in new viewers. It's but to me, it's really? It's it just didn't feel as cinematic with that modern day yappity whatever it is crap they were playing on the mainstream trailers. It felt better with the cinematic score. That that music just seemed to drive it better than the other stuff did. And it's okay, let's go to some snaps. All right, we'll throw it in open mic. Let's get your guys' view on what we're seeing real quick.
Well, one of the other things I noticed going through it as well, there was a lot of heavy leaning on the Sonic as well, to be honest with you. It didn't surprise me that there would have been an advert for the now available in stores by the end of this, because it sort of she seemed to be looking at the Sonic a hell of a lot during this. I'd like to see her doing a bit more Doctor things, because the apart from pulling a lot of faces, and like Connor said, there's a lot of, if you wanted to put it in the sense of Smithisms or Tennantisms, but there wasn't much of the serious aspect that I would want to give an aspect of drama to it, which is what you'd expect from Chibnall. It just seemed to be a lot of, she's looking down at the Sonic, wandering around, and then pulling a bit of a face. So it's high, this is all very high impact, flashy, and the visuals are great and everything like that. But it seems to be. It's a trailer. What can you take? But it's just ringing hollow for me at the moment.
Well, I was just going to say, Tim mentioned there's very little of the TARDIS, and I can see why they don't want to show you the inside yet, but they could have just had a couple of stock scenes of it spinning through just to remind you, hey, this is Doctor Who. I think that's what it lacks overall as a trailer. That if you didn't know that this was it, you would be thinking, I don't even know what this is. This is some new show for BBC. So I think that is a small thing that they could have addressed in the trailer. I don't know.
So along the trailer, you've got a scene with Yasmin kicking some sort of device down the corridor, and I'm of the opinion that there's a thing that said that the Doctor's coat has hidden properties, and I'm of the opinion that the Doctor's coat can also be bomb-proof and bulletproof and all that, because it seems that the device that's been kicked is wrapped up in a coat.
Oh, this is a question for Phil and maybe Connor. See, the magazine just came out like 2-3 days ago.
Yeah.
Does the magazine, even though it mentions only 2 episodes, right?
Yes.
Does it have a cast, the actor's name in each story?
1 or 2, but not everybody.
I just wanted to know maybe if there was a recurring actor or actress outside of the main cast appearing in these stories like that. Remember when Capaldi first season had Missy kept appearing at the end like that, but her name was shown in the credits. So I thought maybe somebody might be appearing as maybe the main story for the season like that. That's what
you mean like a returning villain, you mean?
I can't say a villain, just a returning character.
The only one that we're aware of is that we're told, but we don't know if it's true, is Alan Cummings. That's the only person we always spoke about. Anybody else, I'm not too sure.
But what I mean is, if for more than one episode, like 3, 4, 5, 6, that would go to the finale of it, like the way like Michelle Gomez kept popping up every other episode.
From the point of the magazine, no.
So in a funny way, we have to now wait to see if there's going to be any main storyline that will go from first to last episode.
There's not going to be any arc. There's no arc to this season, as far as I understand that.
No, there's not. They've already stated that these are 10 standalones.
Yeah, I just want to say, I mean, during our intro and stuff like that, Lady Neo and Josh made a point about the fact that you can have all the CG special effects in the world, but if the story is not great, but it's pretty much dead at that point. So I'm just trying to highlight here. So you guys effectively trying to say you don't want this to be the Star Wars prequels, I take it.
Just to pick beef up on his point with regards to the overuse of the screwdriver, I wouldn't get too concerned about that just yet. You're probably looking at 5-10 seconds to maybe even the same episode. If it becomes a reoccurring thing as we go down the line, then fine, hands up. But I wouldn't get too concerned about that just yet.
Yeah, just the thing about apparently how the Doctor's coat will be like bomb-proof and bulletproof or whatever else. I think, honestly, that sort of cheapens the character a little. I mean, the Doctor has always been a danger and risk-taker. So to be, now wrapped in Kevlar basically sort of cheapens the character a little, I thought.
To expand on the discussion with William and Philip there, from what I gather, Chris Chibnall is doing it where each episode is standalone, but each episode is going to have a big name, guest star. So the first one has Sharon D. Clarke, who we know is kind of a returning character, but we don't know for how many episodes. And then the second one has got Sean Dooley and Art Malik and Susan Lynch. So it's kind of going to be like a Black Mirror sort of situation where you've just got or even more recently, Electric Dreams, the Amazon series, where they have sort of like a big A-list. Even Hollywood. I mean, Alan Cumming is Hollywood status.
Yeah.
not a name, to drag in probably a certain demographic that you wouldn't normally get. So I think it's just going to be more focused on look at the guest star this week rather than, oh, look, there's a Michelle Gomez sort of Missy character popping up everywhere. It's going to be more very centric on the actual story that week. A bit like Monster of the Week, but more, I don't know, more standalone than even that.
Guest star of the week.
Yeah, guest star of the week.
Like the Love Boat.
Yeah, I forgot to make a couple points, regarding the trailer and regarding the fact that they really want to get new people into the show, right? But then they neglected to, she only said, like, I'm a time traveler, and then they didn't even explain the fact, that she has a TARDIS or any of that. And it just seems like it was a little, like they were trying to dumb it down too much. And that's what I'm worried about, them trying to dumb it down too much. And for me personally, I don't know if Doctor Who would work as a standalone show, because Doctor Who has always had, plot arcs and things of that nature, as far as I know. Like, they've never not had some type of plot arc. So that worries me a little bit, and I don't know how that's going to work. Because the reason why I watch Doctor Who, in my opinion, is for, continuity and, like, a plot arc. Like, if I wanted to watch Black Mirror, I would watch Black Mirror, but Black Mirror is not Doctor Who, in my opinion. So, I don't know, I'm just a little bit worried, but hopefully it'll work.
Yeah, just to pick up Josh on his point, though, I think it was season 6 where they tried to have the movie of the week for Doctor Who, if you remember that.
Oh, God.
7.
Yeah.
7.
There we go, Series 7. Yeah, where they tried to have, I think it was half the season was the movie of the week. And that just dropped the ball right there. That did. If we remember, the ratings fell down quite hard that season.
Yeah, it was terrible. I hated that.
That might have been because it was a gap year as well, though.
Yeah, true.
Some of those episodes were pretty good, in my opinion.
Some of them were good, but the majority of them were just But there were good ones in there, but it was like, I just didn't like season 7 overall. I just felt like season 7 tried too hard, and I hope that they don't try too hard to get new viewers in and then end up falling flat on their face.
Yeah, I wanted to make a point about, I think it was Connor was saying about how, is this a contentious thing that apparently, well, we said that, like I said, we had that bit with the American who says, who's in charge, actually no, why is she in charge or something like that, but they're saying she is, well, is this contentious? Surely this has happened in Doctor Who before, I mean, and surely that's, well, you have to wait till the episode, really, but it sounds like a perfectly reasonable plot device. Some random person has come in and suddenly they're in charge, and I'm surely that's happened in Doctor Who before. Not quite sure, but also to make a thing about Josh's point, I mean, how there was no TARDIS there, and all she says is a time traveler, and I'm so worried that they're trying to dumb it down to get new people in. Well, that they're still going to have the TARDIS there, Josh, and more to the point, for new people who've probably never seen the show, that'll make the TARDIS a complete surprise. I mean, there's a lot of people who've never seen Doctor Who. When you first see Doctor Who, and one of the amazing things you see is that the TARDIS, but is bigger on the inside. And like I said, if you want new people in, you kind of have to dumb it down just to give the surprise in there for the main show.
Everybody's entitled to their concern, but like I said earlier, they've basically got a free hit this season. You're getting a season 12, regardless of what happens. They might as well swing for the moon and see if they land there. Just based on the writers for this year, am I correct in assuming that Chibnall's writing 5 and then the other 5 are spread throughout the new diverse writing team?
So far, we've seen that he's had a hand in a couple episodes now already. So
right, so
it does look like
writing half. Yeah.
Chibnall's doing 5 and the others are doing the other 5. To address what DWC just said there, I was thinking it was more contentious because there is going to be some idiot out there that will make a point of it being about the gender, that it's a slant against her because she's a woman. But something that I noted the other night, actually, that I was going to bring up about that exact scene was that, and this is just my opinion, she comes across in that particular scene, and as I said, we haven't seen the whole context of it, so I might need to see the whole context of it first before actually making a proper judgment on it, but she comes across a little bit, for the want of a better word, submissive, where she has to have her companions as the shield to guard her dignity, her integrity, her pride, whatever, in the situation. We haven't actually, like, you know, the same thing happened as far as many times before, but the last time I can really remember it happening was last Christmas. And we saw that Michael Troughton's character got a pretty big bollocking off of Peter Capaldi's doctor for that. She just kind of sat there, gave him a little bit of a disconcerted look, and then the companions had to step in and sort of take charge of the situation. So whether or not, the worry is that is she going to be a little bit submissive? But as I said, I haven't seen the whole context of that scene, so we'll see. But that's just a little bit of a niggling worry that I have from that little snippet.
Going back to this argument about bringing in new people and everything, and so they know what Doctor Who is. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that know what Doctor Who is already. Anyway, they don't need to be fed, force-fed information through this season's Doctor Who. If they know what it is, they'll come and watch it whether they want to or not. They don't need to be told if, why, and what's. To be honest, it doesn't make no sense to me. Doctor Who is not an unknown quantity. Everybody knows what it is.
Well, you're saying that everybody knows what Doctor Who is. Not everybody, Philip. You still have a lot of people that don't know what Doctor Who is. What's that? What's this blue box? Oh, wow, this just looks like some Star Wars thing or something. Wow, it's bigger on the inside? What does that mean? I guess I have to go back and watch a whole bunch of stuff that I really don't want to.
Yeah, but when you say that, I really don't want to, it's like saying, well, then why are you trying to drag in people that don't want to watch Doctor Who?
Right, but you gotta remember, this is that new generation. They don't want to have to go back and watch all that mess. They want to be like, oh, wow, yeah, Doctor Who, I can understand this now. No, that's not going to happen. They're going to have to go back. They're going to have to see Capaldi or Matt Smith or whoever they need to see first. Say, okay, I kind of understand this now. But more now the generation is like, hey, look, boom, 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 I want it now, I want it now. It's very annoying. But a couple of the pictures back, I noticed she had a bit of a serious face. Not that one with the crease. One more. Right there. You see that? I kind of think that's like a flash of seriousness. But we'll see until the episode really airs if that's going to be like a stern seriousness or she's going to look like that and then like have a flash of fluffiness, you know? Well, that's what I call it, fluffiness.
Yeah, okay. My main, going back to what Tim said earlier, my main contention wasn't with the TARDIS not showing up. My main problem is the whole standalone thing. I personally don't think Doctor Who would work as a standalone story without plot arcs. Like, there has to be some sort of, overwhelming plot. Otherwise, it's just like, oh, there's all these aliens, and we only care about them for 50 minutes, and then we don't ever see them again type of thing. And that's kind of, I'm hoping it's not going to be like that, because, like I said, I just like the whole idea of Doctor Who and, reoccurring characters and reoccurring aliens and like discovering more about like the alien species or whatever. That's what I've always personally liked about Doctor Who. And I was gonna say one more thing, and I completely spaced on what I was gonna say, so I guess that's it. And if I remember, I guess you can just come back.
First thing about the TARDIS, that new people will be surprised about it. Nobody's gonna be surprised with the photos of it already leaked online, so everybody's seen it one way or another. They already know what's inside the TARDIS, how it looks like. The one thing I'm a little bit discouraged about this particular trailer is that they did not announce what time is coming on. For this first episode, which is supposed to be a worldwide event, that everybody's supposed to be watching it at the same time. And at the same time, it didn't announce what the second episode onward, what time that's going to come on. Because remember, over here in the United States, and BBC America, they will have to air it, I think, 8 or 9 p.m., and they're going to be competing with other shows that they're going to have airing. I'm not even mentioning the NFL football. So that's a big thing, and I'm a bit shocked that they didn't announce the time at all, or did they even attempt to promote the show by having it appear at the New York Comic-Con that's coming up in 2 weeks. So I'm like, you know, if you didn't have that much faith in it by having it still on Saturday, that at least have faith for it to be on Sunday by either promoting the time and promoting it at Comic-Con. So I'm a little bit discouraged. I will watch it because I've been watching it for so many years. But already, I would say, like Beef said, there's not enough oomph to attract me to it. If I was a new person, I would have been like, maybe I'll watch 1 or 2 and that would be it. But since I've been watching Doctor Who for so many years, of course I'm gonna watch it. But it hasn't really like made me want to watch it. Made me want to forget about that Sunday football, or I can just wait till the next day and watch it on repeat or online like that. So it hasn't drawn me in that I really want to watch it. So I wish they would do something about that.
Well, to follow on that, because I was going to address what Phil had said, you're right, Phil, that many people know what Doctor Who is. It's a cult program, but that's the point we were trying to make. Is this trailer is, at least the one we're talking about, is trying to win over new audience members that don't know what it is. That's why I think that they had the stupid hip hop music and you know, the stuff that was trying to aim at a newer audience, rather than, because they already know all of us are going to watch. They don't even have to. They just have to let us know when it's going to be on, when to watch it with the trailer or not, right? Any old school fans, the ones that are really worried about probably are those ones that left a few years ago for whatever reason, and they're trying to aim it at a newer audience. They're trying, you know, get some chicks to watch, basically. So I think that's kind of where they're going with it. And to your point, yeah, of course you're going to watch it. You know it's Doctor Who, but like Will just said, this doesn't really, if you didn't know this was Doctor Who, this doesn't really say, oh, that's something I got to see bad. Like, I'm going to skip football to watch that.
Like Will was saying there about the time slot, I think that the reason why they changed it to Sunday was to have a consistent time slot, because on a Saturday, particularly with, I think it was Capaldi's last 2 series, it was getting bullied around so much that it would be on as late as 9 o'clock. And it's just not, that's just, for something like Doctor Who, it's just not a pleasing time for a decent audience number. So I think by having it on the reason mainly why they chose a Sunday is because you can have it at 5:45 or whenever they're going to have it, and it will stay there for the 10 weeks. And you will probably at least guarantee a solid, probably non-rising number of views. So if it's 7 million for the first episode, whether it's good or not, it'll probably stay at about 7 million for the rest of the series. I think that's the main reason why they chose a Sunday, is to accommodate a more consistent time slot.
I'd just be more happy if they stay consistent with keeping it on every year.
Can I just go quickly back to Josh's thing about standalone? Can I just say that Doctor Who's always had standalone stories, but back in the day they were broken up into 4 segments or 6 segments to a story, and even to this day we still have standalones, but it's just that they're broken down into a 50-minute slot, so they can work, even though you say you don't think they work. They do work depending on the story.
Yeah, for me, 2 points. One, at the end of the American trailer, you got Jodie saying, don't forget to subscribe to the Doctor Who channel. Are people going to start making jokes about that since Peter Capaldi was doing that and they were making jokes about him?
Oh, yeah, it's going to happen.
Well, I'm just saying, because they were giving him grief about it. I don't understand. He was promoting himself and his product.
On the issue of the standalones, I think this is actually a good move because certainly from a fan perspective, I think an awful lot. One of the criticisms of the new series is that an awful lot of the storylines fall flat on their face. There's only been a very certain few. I think maybe the Vought Saxon one, the Bad Wolf one, and maybe the Dr. Donna one that have actually stood and held their own throughout the whole entire series. And most of the fan favourite episodes are actually standalones, like Blink is a very standalone story within Series 3. So I think they're probably more gearing it towards standalones because there's not so much weight of having to include like the odd reference or the odd scene to keep a storyline going, where at the end of the day, if you put the storyline together and have it as one coherent thing, it just ends up as a whole entire timeline of a mess. It's just not, it doesn't stand up against what could otherwise focus its energy on a more standalone, constrained sort of story for that particular week.
I was just going to pick you up, Brian, on your little quip about you just be satisfied if it come on every year. Funny enough, Doctor Who's not the only show that falls victim to that thing. Let's have a look at Westworld, folks. What's that, every 18 months? Get your act together, HBO. But with regards to, did we get a title for episode 2? Or was I drinking too much during the week?
The Ghost Monument, wasn't it?
Is this guy having a Harry Sullivan moment with the weird?
I could be, yeah.
Oh my god! Oh, okay.
There's no bubble wrap.
Yeah, I mean, going back to the whole issue with standalones, I don't have an issue with standalones and Doctor Who. What I have an issue with is having a whole season of standalones with no plot arc. That's what I have a problem with. Standalones with Doctor Who work, but the reason why I like Doctor Who is because you learned more about things as you watched. And I feel like if you do standalones, there's only so much that you can learn as far as like the alien species are concerned and all that stuff. And you could say that the writing was bad, but Russell T Davies was able to do it. In my opinion, he was able to write consistent story arcs. So that was my only farce with it. Standalones do work, but I don't know if they'll work for like a whole season or not.
Can I just jump in there, Josh? The fact that we've only got 10 episodes to play with, there's not really much room to do story arc. And if you want more different stories along the way, that's the only way you can do it with standalone. Have different settings, different adventures. If you do a story arc, then you're just going to whittle down standalones and have a story arc that doesn't really, as Connor said earlier before, doesn't really meet criteria at the end. You don't get the payoff.
Yeah, I guess I get where you're coming from. I'm being like really, really nitpicky with it, and I've always just liked more complex stories. as far as Doctor Who is concerned. So that was the only reason why I said standalones might be a little iffy for me personally.
Here they go, strolling down the aisle, checking out the Sonic. Like I said, this is what's also leading me to the fact I think that's the reason why you didn't see the TARDIS. I think they're looking for it in the first few episodes, or at least first couple. Because you notice she's looking at the Sonic here as they're walking along like they're tracking something. Now, we already know from a tweet that she said the words Artron Energy and Vortex Manipulator. And from what we've heard from another source, a Vortex Manipulator was seen as one of the props pictured for South Africa. And this is obviously the South Africa episode, given the car, the setting, and whatnot. So, I don't know, just a bit of speculation there. But
I remember my previous point. If they watered down the episodes for this season, though, the concept of the show for the new people, they run the real risk of alienating people who've been watching the show for so many years. Because if you dumb it down too much, for lack of a better term, people will be like, oh, well, I've been watching for so many years, I can catch up, in 2 weeks' time. It's not a problem. I can skip a few episodes. So you run the risk of your audience who are diehard fans like us, like we're going to watch it regardless. But some people will be like, I really don't need to watch it tonight. I've got work in the first thing in the morning or whatever, being in the UK for a Sunday. So I think they might run the risk of alienating most of the diehard fans a little bit.
Well, you were talking about how they might be looking for the TARDIS. Now, wouldn't it be cool? I wouldn't know how they would do that transportation thing. My only issue would be the transportation, which they probably could do with that vortex manipulator. I'm not 100% sure on that. But wouldn't it be nice if every time they would come close to finding the TARDIS, something would happen, some calamity or something would happen, and they were and the TARDIS dematerializes and they're running after it. Wouldn't that be cool?
Yeah, it would kind of remind me of when they did the Divergent Universe story arc in Big Finish, where you had Paul McGann's Doctor winds up in a different. All right, short story for you folks who haven't listened to those. They end up basically spending a good deal of the next few episodes in that particular setting, trying to find the TARDIS and where it's located. So I'm wondering if that's maybe something they're aiming at here.
Well, just wanted to point out that they're in Copenhagen or whatever. So have they got the vortex manipulator at this point, Ben, or something? Because unless they took a plane at some point, I'm not quite sure how they got there to potentially find TARDIS. But equally, the concepts of the vortex manipulators. So are we going to see another time agent or something? Because I'm literally at the top of my mind trying to track the number of vortex manipulators we've seen. We've got John Hart, who had his throughout. Jack, I'm pretty sure, left his to Unit, and Clara got it. Then there was River Song, who had a vortex manipulator, which was taken off the hand of a time agent. I said off the hand. But how many time agents were there, did John Hart say? There were 6 left or something along those lines. But I don't know. I'm just curious, where on earth did they get a vortex manipulator? It's probably Jack's, for all we know.
Yeah, it could have fallen out of the TARDIS, because if I remember right, Clara had the one in Day of the Doctor. So,
well, I was gonna to AJ's point. That's probably always been the bane of trying to market the show since it came back, because you always have to try to weigh capturing new audience members versus old ones with an ever-changing cast. I mean, in other words, an episode you watch this coming series is going to be completely different from one you watched 10 years ago or even 30 years ago. So that's always going to be the problem of trying to market the show, which has an ever-changing audience and ever-changing cast. To DWC's point about the vortex manipulator, perhaps maybe it will be a TARDIS Light series. You remember Tom Baker's first series? They didn't use the TARDIS at all. They were traveling around with a time ring and or being intercepted by Time Lords. So it would be interesting to see if they don't use the TARDIS much. But on the other hand, everybody said these are standalone episodes, so I wouldn't expect that kind of continuity between episodes. In other words, you can't really watch the Centauran experiment after, Terror of the Zygons or something. It wouldn't make sense in the run of things. So anyway, as you were.
I know. That freaked me out because I started watching Doctor Who. My first episode was the Centauran experiment. So when the TARDIS came along later, I'm like, wait a minute, why are they going into this box?
Where'd that come from?
Where the hell's this white room at? What? Okay.
Going back to the vortex manipulator problem, I might be misremembering because I haven't seen, the first series in 1963 in a while. But I thought there was a story where they just, it was the, what was it? Oh Lord, I can't remember. It was the one where they had to find all the keys and, the keys of Marinus. They had something, I don't know if they referred to it as a vortex manipulator, but they were able to, travel through time into different places using that. So haven't we seen the concept of a vortex manipulator throughout the whole history of the show anyway? So as long as they introduce it in a way that people can understand it, I don't see what the problem is with having the TARDIS show up in the middle of the season or something like that.
It could be because they did take their sweet time building the interior. So,
well, we're talking about the vortex manipulator, and it probably is going to be that. But I mean, Chibnall's at liberty to create a new device anyway that could get them around. It doesn't necessarily have to be a vortex manipulator. So whether it comes from wherever or not, I think doesn't necessarily matter. I do think that it will fall out the TARDIS though, and she'll find it somewhere, maybe in that junkyard in the first episode when she's looking for spare parts to do whatever she's wanting to do.
Yeah, also, that's right. Missy had one as well. I just popped into my head. Remember? She's back in, what was it? Magician's Apprentice, I believe it was. It first popped up. So they could just pop up anywhere. They were 51st century technology.
Just wanted to comment on Josh's point. I mean, as far as I understand, but mostly from watching Brian's videos, it is meant to be a vortex manipulator. But whatever it is, yeah, any time travel device they can make. Where was it going with this? But ultimately, in the Keys of Marinus, what the items were actually referred to, as I'm looking here, were called travel dials. That's what they were called. Travel dials. But now I'll go. Do I think that that's what they'll be using? They'll be using travel dials? No, because frankly, if you'd have to actually know what that is, and like Tribunal's been saying, he wants this to be pretty much a fresh start, so you don't have to think too much or necessarily know everything about Doctor Who.
You got to love millennials. Just to put Connor up on what he said with regards to the vortex manipulator. He's right. It doesn't matter. It's it's only going to be for the first couple of episodes anyway, in my opinion. They're not going to build this set and no show it for 5-6 episodes. And whether it falls at the TARDIS or hell, she probably just builds it with pieces of junk in the blooming junkyard for all we know. That'll serve its purpose, much like the Time Ring did in Ark in Space and the Soltaran experiment.
There's a picture of the pregnant guy. This video is coming down.
Here's a question, but I don't think everybody's going to have a question to this answer right now. It would take time. Now, the main reason why this was moved to a Sunday is to draw new viewers and to have increase in viewers over there in Europe. Now, if this does succeed in increasing viewership, does that mean she will have the increase in pay as the same as Matt Smith and David Tennant when they were doing the Doctor, considering how much he's getting paid now?
I think it would depend on how the series performs.
Her agent.
That too. Because remember, they were very, very popular doctors for their time, and Matt Smith was considering leaving. They upped his salary so he'd hang around another year. Tennant, I know they gave him a bit more to hang around for that last year, to get to kind of tie things up. So it's a possibility. It just depends on the success of the show itself.
Never mind their agent. Now let's not forget the contribution that the brass holes in the 6th floor are going to make as well.
This one, I still believe somewhere is like around the first episode she's wearing that jacket, but It's like it'd be funny if this was the scene where they were watching her fall out of the sky. It's a shame when the cosmos throws out a perfectly good white lady like that. All right, moving on.
Ooh.
All right, this one we've seen before in another trailer. So, but this time when you do watch this, you can see there's something creeping at him because it kind of every now and then comes into camera view. That's one thing they left out in the first trailer. Okay, this one I thought was pretty neat because it's creepy. I'm going to come back to it in a second because he's looking under the desk. And then I'll show you what he's like. All right, here we go. There it is. Mr. Uggin himself coming in the background there. Some kind of multi-legged thing coming after him.
To go back to that pregnant man photo, there was a funny thing I saw on Twitter, and I haven't actually gone back to the trailer to actually analyse this. As well as ragging at Bradley about his running, the way that he's squatting there, someone noticed, and I don't know if it's just a trick of the camera angle, but he actually looks pregnant himself in that photo. So whether or not like it's some sort of weird alien experiment, but notice also the absence of Mandy in that photo. So I think if that's a hospital ship, I think that she's going to be the one that's going to be incapacitated that makes them end up to be on that ship.
I forgot to note that earlier. There does appear to be something on the side of his head there.
Yeah, the other monster or creature that we face in those trailers that we see briefly are something called a ribbon. You'll see it floating across the camera towards the companions and people that are there. But I'm interested in seeing what that is about. And that features in the second episode, I believe. Is that right? That's correct. Yeah, the Ghost Monument. So I'm looking forward to seeing what that does.
Where'd you hear that?
It's in the trailer. You'll see it. The ribbon floating across towards the Doctor and whoever's with her, and that's part of episode 2.
It was first mentioned in Big Issue North, but if you actually look in the trailer, it won't be obvious in a screen cap. But there's actually some sort of ribbon thing that's like wrapping around. It's on the shot where you've got Sean Dooley, like in the dark field or wherever it is,
and the big kiss off. Oh yeah, and I came back to this one because in this still you can actually see the spider or whatever that thing is there crawling across in front of him as he's looking under the desk. I tried to get a closer shot of this thing, but that's the best I could do, given we've only gotten flashes of the thing. All right, let's kill this and move on.
Just to put Connor up on his supposed guesstimation with regards to the medical ship and the whole pregnant man and whether Brothers is pregnant or no, based on camera angles. Congratulations, Chibnall. Your first alien threat has just been named for the season, The Impregnators. Good job.
What was the name of that movie where Schwarzenegger got pregnant? I forgot. Anybody know it?
Junior.
Oh, yeah, Junior. That's it. Yeah, Junior.
I'm pretty sure that 8-legged crawling thing is a spider because they filmed in, I think it was a university. It was a university somewhere, and they made a point of actually filming a tarantula in a glass cage and I think it was Jodie was exclaiming about how interesting it is, but also how terrified she was of the spider because I don't think she likes spiders. In fact, she referenced that at Comic-Con. She said that there's something in the series that made her skin crawl or something that she didn't particularly like. So I guess it's going to be that giant spider.
I think listening to everyone, sort of like putting it all together and just focusing on this trailer, what it seems to be is that we can all pretty much agree that it looks great, but what it's lacking really is identity. The music isn't giving it identity, and when you have a show like this that has gone on for so long and everything like that, the thing that has kept its longevity going is that it's a very unique animal. Whether it's the process of change, everyone has their own peccadillo of what makes them feel a certain way about this show, but it has an identity that is purely, that is unique to it, and it's lacking that. It's, there's nothing to say that this show is different from the rest because, apart from her, that one point of her saying, "I'm the Doctor," there's nothing else that screams Doctor Who about it. The music doesn't associate with it. There's no TARDIS to it, which you think is something that's intrinsically identified with the show. You don't have to have an internal shot, like Tim said. It could be external shots. You've got enough shots of that spaceship that's used, I think, twice in the trailer. There's why couldn't you have an external shot of the TARDIS somewhere that just like fires it off? It's enough in the public consciousness. You don't have a time. And what you want with the trailer these days, and especially the way TV is viewed, yes, you can view it online, but also if people watch trailers, you'll get something that'll come up and say you can press a button for your device or whatever that will give you a series link, and it will set it to record. So you can go back and watch it at your leisure. And if you have a time or something like that, then that plants a seed in your brain because you're seeing it over and over again as right, well, this must be, it's a must watch. I think I must be at this place at this time. And holding it back this long isn't doing it a service. So your trailer is lacking identity and a place to be at a day is too generic because, then it will just get lost. And then if you're making this bold move, which they're doing, which is changing the gender, which isn't supposed to matter, but then you want to put her front and center. But there isn't that much focus really on Jodie. She's getting lost in the companions. And like Connor said, and this is something we spoke about the other night, that she's sort of having to be reaffirmed by the companions. You want her to be bold, you want her to be definite, and you want to give her identity and her agency. And that's the one thing this trailer falls down is it is not stamping itself enough as Doctor Who. It's just now becoming a generic sci-fi show. And I'm not saying that that means that it has to be a closed shop and it has to be a niche market, but it has to set itself aside. There's a reason it's been around for this long, and if you aren't giving it enough identifying marks, then you're falling short and you're doing it a disservice by not really hammering it home what it's all about.
Yeah, just to punctuate what he's saying, I just hope the series is better than the trailer, because the trailer, to be honest, isn't that impressive. It's not drawing you in as a new series of Doctor Who. It's just, it is what it is.
Well, here we are, a couple more weeks to go, and like I said, it's just still freaking me out that the time, for the airing has not been given. And I'm hoping they're going to give it at the press launch. I really am, because it's, kind of weird. It's like, normally by now, like at least a month beforehand, we know what time, the episode's going to air. And it's kind of freaking me out. But all I can say is this: anticipations are high. Like I said, opinions on the trailer have varied. But I guess the proof of the pudding's in the eating, and I guess we're just got to sit back, wait, and see what we get. All right, folks, until next time, everybody take care. Enjoy the rest of your night. We'll see you on the flip side. Have a good one.